I'm Maddi. I am a photographer and aspiring art director, and I'm graduating with a bachelor's degree in creative direction for fashion at the London College of Fashion. This tension between the character and the subject, us as a viewer looking at my images, is kind of what I focus on when I'm creating. I love storytelling through specifically the light and shadow and composition of the body. So essentially, I shoot the body as a still life, and gaze is something that's motionless. As an art director and a photographer, my mission is to take the act of looking and just transform it into an act of reflection. I want to help brands tell stories about real people through beautiful and intense imagery and care for analog practices, so that the viewers will understand that these brands really care about their work and the principle of beauty in art. Ideally, I'd love to work for a company that either is a magazine and it has its own consulting studio for art direction, or I'd love to work in-house at a brand and help out with their art direction and visual identity. I really do love Beauty Papers and Beauty Papers Create Consults, which is their art direction studio. If I were to take a brand that I want to work for, it would definitely be Phoebe Philo. It's a combination of everything I love. It's minimalistic, they have clean lines, it's sculptural, it's kind of androgynous with the silhouettes, and they really do care about their silhouettes. Its branding is just so effortless, and it's like we see all these cool women living their cool lives, and we're here watching it happen. I'm really inspired by the Baroque period of art, the way that they use these strong directional lights to tell narrative. I do really enjoy painting. I spent a lot of time, I went to art school, and I spent a lot of time in the painting studio, and I loved learning about Caravaggio and all the greats and trying to replicate their painting styles. And I think all of that training that I got directly translates to my photography. Brands, I love Dries Van Noten. Maison Margiela is a classic.
There's so many photographers I admire. I mean, the past ones like Robert Mapplethorpe and Irving Penn's nudes, the importance of capturing the contour of the body, and contemporary photographers like Jet Swan, Paul Cuquier, Melanie Raymond.
My personal work was really beneficial to me because it was how I developed my portfolio, but also how I developed my own sense of personal branding. There's this balance that you can see between indulgence and restraint. There's a lot of sensory, fleshy moments in it, but also the characters are quite rigid and it's cold. It taught me how to use digital photography on my Nikon Z6. It taught me how to use film photography. I do a lot of work on my Nikon F100, which is 35 millimeters, but I've also done lots of shoots now on medium format on the Mamiya. I do my own retouching in Photoshop. And, in an industry where the budgets are tight and the creative roles are all merging, it's good that I'm able to say I can take it from pre-production to production to then seeing out the final images and, creating a campaign. What was really important was when I took all of them, I edited them down to the best and strongest ones that made sense for the narrative I was trying to convey, was to actually take these selects and create a website. So now I have MadelineDoss.com, which I think overall shows my taste. I think this website was the one thing that got me all of my internships and freelance opportunities that came after. Infringe magazine had reached out to me. I didn't even email them, but they saw my work and they were looking for a new freelance editor, and we got in conversation, and that was such a great experience because their mission is to share hair as this artistic and cultural medium, and they really challenge perceptions of beauty, and they do it through this intense silhouette focused style, which really aligns, with my visual aesthetic. I saw out the entire editorial process, from finding stories to communication through production. I made the social media content. Eventually I was actually able to publish my own editorial with them, which was a major achievement, and it actually led me down a whole rabbit hole of producing my own editorials for different magazines. For this job, I worked a lot in Photoshop, Premiere, InDesign, really got to know WordPress. It forced me to be very well organized and a leader in a sense in project management. I mean, I was so busy during this time. I found myself working with Rachel Fleminger-Hudson. She's an art director and photographer. There I was helping with visual research, deck making. I helped her with retouching her story for Luncheon magazine. So that was really cool, just to get even more experience and to get my name out there. Now that I had my creative side of my practice in motion, I wanted to gain experience in the production side, working for a company as well. I put together my account on Dots and LinkedIn, and I applied for some places that I think really aligned with my vision. In the future, I do want to add myself onto Fashion Monitor. But yeah, once I sent out my CV, I was able to get an interview with St. Luke Artists, which is a creative agency. They represent hair artists, makeup artists, photographers. I was making decks for clients like Joe Malone, Vogue, Alexander McQueen. So I was able to do a lot of the pre-production, but then I went freelance and did on-set production for them as well. I had to always be on time, I had to be really flexible, work well under pressure. I felt like it was the perfect time to explore a self-led project within the job that I really saw myself doing long term. So I created my own creative studio with a coinciding publication, just like Beauty Papers, because I wanted to see how a company can have its strong storytelling and care for art, but also the creative studio can supply funding to the magazine. So the studio I created is called Sweet Cheek Studio, and our publication is called The Short Stack. The proposal suggests a way of capturing beauty in the mundane, everyday moments in America. The studio would essentially collaborate with American brands on their art direction and visual identity, and then the publication, The Short Stack, works with a variety of American artists, whether it be photographers, authors, stylists, makeup artists, etc. They not only can be more recognized, but share their art and the stories that they want to tell. This project allowed me to understand what it means to identify one cultural pressure point and target it in a beautiful and meaningful way. It used intentional light and shadows to really effectively communicate these more reflective narratives that I wanted to show between, the viewer and its subject. So even though it was quite different, it was still of the same mission that I want to tell through my art. It required an intense amount of project management. Not only was it an in-depth cultural research project, which I'd never really done before, there's a lot of people on board, and I had to take my ideas, market this whole studio, social media, imagined launch events. I even did some fun packaging design just to really build out this world. I feel like I did learn a lot about, creating a business and what it really takes. Yeah, I think this is the first few steps I've taken into hopefully what's gonna be a really exciting career. So